Hello.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm
Sure.
Dr. Srinjoy Das. I'm an assistant professor of data science in West Virginia University, and this is my first time in this conference. So we'll be presenting a paper on Thursday, I think.
Ah, thank you so much.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, um, I'm Isabella. I'm in multimedia engineering in Colombia, and I'm right now at my final semester, and I'm actually here to present a video game demo. Yeah, first time.
Well, we are the presenters for the Empowering Academic Industry Collaboration in Game Development. We come from IEEE Region 9, from Tecnológico de Monterrey, Autonomous University of Entre Ríos, and Universidad Playa Ancha, and me, Edward Sierra from Universidad Interno Granada. But people is in the other view, then they could eh, eh, saludarlos.
Greetings.
Carlos Astengo,
Mhm.
from Monterrey. Lorena
Hi,
Martínez,
hello.
Monterrey, Tecnológico Monterrey. Daniela López de Luis, Autonomous University of Entre Ríos, in Argentina. And Mario Bruno from Universidad Playa Ancha, Chile.
Hello.
Well, the idea today is to talk about our relationship between academic and industry is in the same way that the presentation in the first panel and the first conference. But today we come from the Task Force on Gamification Research and Education. Do you know we work in Region 9 as well? Uh, we make activities to support some international and non-formal education in terms on diplomas, because informal education is not common to have this kind of information for gaming or game development. We have activities like oratorium to empowering the academic creation of content and learning about gaming and game development. We working in how to have a vocabulary in other languages, mainly in Spanish and some in Portuguese too, and support jams. For example, in Mexico, Technology con Monterrey works with Global Jam, and we make support for other IEEE events like ArgenCom in 2 editions, and this year in ChileCon. We have the chairs of the conference in the track about game development and the part of virtual reality. And we have the Colombian Computing Conference in 2 weeks in Cajica, near to Bogota. Yeah, and we try to create this bridge between industry and our professionals and the academics. Well, uh, today the idea is to introduce this methodology named TZEPIRC. Uh, and by the way, maybe Carlos could talk us something about this introduction of the
Yes. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let's first say that game industry is not a game. It's a serious and a deeper, demanding industry. And what we want is that people that we are in touch, that mainly students, can be professionals in this industry, so they have to read research papers, and they have to write this kind of papers, and they have to present in conferences like where you are right now. So the first question that we as a groups asked ourselves was, how do we prepare these students? Because it's not easy to be part of a research group. It's a kind of attitude, and you have to have the skills. And if they are students, how can we develop these skills, and how can we enhance an environment for those students that see in themselves the potential for be a scientific writers? So we start and find the work of Javier Nava. Javier Nava Gonzalez is a chemistry engineer, and all of his work was in more than 30 years was focused on how to develop scientific skills. He was the first person that I know that was study artificial intelligence, where the spotlights were not in artificial intelligence. He has a PhD in computer linguistics. So he started asking and researching how people develop scientific papers, and he has at least 5 books. One of them is this. In Spanish, it's how to read it. Well, in English, it's how to read and write to be a subject. No, not a subject. Lorena?
Yes, the subject of the reading. That's the of the grammatical structure.
Okay. Thank you.
The subject
Can
is.
continue to
Can we change for the next slide, Edward, please?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a cartoon for an Argentinian cartoonist, Kino, and Dr. Nava always get this kind of pictures to introduce this methodology, the TCEP IRC methodology. So if we can see the cartoon or the picture, we can see some people that are walking around some values, and the old-fashioned values like liberty, justice, and what they really want to clean is the force. So can we change the slide, please? So what Dr. Dava tried to do is to focus on what elements we need to be care. For instance, the first one was I said is the values. The second was the gardeners, and he tried to do some abstracts from this. And the methodology that we are going to expose in a few minutes has the same ideas. So we want to see the whole, the paper, and we want to split it in small pieces, and we have to be aware of some specific topics in those papers. So can we change for the next slide, please? I think this is in Spanish. I'm not sure if yes, thank you.
When I work around this paper, if you can use the QR, you can access to it. It's free. It's for free access. The main idea here is working around critical reading around this paper.
Some of our students think that having the paper is the same as reading the paper. Right now, the PDF is it's so easy to have one. Just click it and you have it. But that doesn't mean that you understand what is within. So what we want to do in this workshop is to show first a methodology to teach students how to read in a critical way. And as Edward said, you can follow with this example, but also you can do it with your own paper that they are presenting. Or maybe I think Isabella was in is sorry, Isabella is in her last year, so maybe she has to write a thesis, and this can be a good way for have a handout for writing this kind of papers. So what we want to explain to our students is that we always have to learn how to read. We're still learning how to read, and our students say, "No, I learned from years ago when I was 6 years ago, 6 years old. I know how to read." And I said, "Yes, you know the letters, you know the words, you can imagine something, but it's different to read a book, a science fiction book, for instance, that to read a scientific paper. There's a lot of small things that you need to be aware. For instance, if we see all the productions in the world, there are thousands and thousands of papers. Which one do I have to be care for my own research? Which authors do I have to read? And most of them are recommendations for our PhD advisor or something. But really, in some way, in the middle of the night, you are in the computer doing research, looking for papers, and this is something that could be a tough task. So what we want to teach you, the first one is don't read all the paper. Just focus on the title and focus on the abstract. So can we change the slide, Edward, please? And we call this the first reading. The next one, please. And what we want is that a good scientific research paper must have in the title several ideas. They have to synthesize the topic. They have to give us the focus and the position of the writer, and we have to have a glimpse of what going to be inside the the paper. I don't know, Lorena, if you want to add something.
Yeah. As Carlos was saying, I was taught to do this by him. uh, it helped me a lot to discard articles that weren't related just by reading the title this way and reading also the abstract. But we're going into that in the next step. But it saved a lot of time for me. Instead of reading the whole thing, I can do and choose more interesting or more topic related articles this way. So the idea mostly also when you're trying to write your title, you might think about this to help readers and researchers to cite you and choose your articles. So as you can see, the title for this, or you have the paper on your phones or tablets. The procedural puzzle generating a survey, it already has a lot of information for us to choose. So here in the title, we can see that, well, it's a survey. So it most likely has a lot of information and a lot of other related articles. So it can help me to construct a state of the art of this procedural generation topic. So another thing that we need to look at is that the title is very concise, and it already is telling me the area and what kind of article it is. So I can decide if I'm going to use it already or not. So if I have some more information that I'd like to read, I can proceed to the next step.
Thank you. What well, sorry, when we're in the middle of a workshop, so we want that be a workshop. So we want to ask if we can go back to the last slide, please. Just looking the title, what do you think could be this article means, or what topics will be covered, or the main question is, what is the problem? Because it's not, as we mentioned before, it's not the same to read other kind of books, other kind of papers, that to read scientific works. And in this kind of paper, always we need to settle what is the problem. So I ask you, and maybe Edward can help us, if some of you want to tell us, what do you think about the title? What could be the main topic? What could be the focus of the authors, or what could be at least the problem that they want to solve?
I don't know, maybe I see here. Maybe the part of the survey, because it's getting the focus on there.
Okay. Yes, the survey it's something that focus our attention, and we know right now that the paper is not going just to give us the point of view of the authors about the problem. They're going to review some other people's works, and they wants to give us some ideas of that survey. About what?
I don't know. Well, this what is procedural puzzles, no? I think.
Right, right.
Ah,
So
it's the topic.
perfect. So the problem could be how to do a procedural puzzle game, and maybe just reading the title, we can imagine that there's not only one way to do it, because we have a survey. So we need to go deeper into the paper. So the next section will tell us exactly what we just do it right now. Can we change and see the title? Okay, and the next, I think there's a few description of the title. Yes, yes, as Isabella told us, this is the word survey, the review. And if you see in the last part, they say implies that there is a significant amount of research, but it may not have been organized or categorized effectively, which could be a limitation in the field. So, well, right now we have an idea of what is going to be in the topic in the paper. So, can we change the slide, please? So what we want to ask for the authors, what will be their approach? Um and as we said, we know that the author is going to review some others' work, and we want to know what the conclusions of these authors are. And in that way, we're going to see what for they are doing this paper. Lorena wants to add something, or I saw you say something.
No, no, that's it. Like the approach is most likely stated in the title.
Perfect. So can we change? So we know the purpose. Uh, Look, we are trying to describe the TCEPIRC methodology, and in the title, we want to know what is the problem, what is the approach, what is the purpose of this paper. That means that when we want to write something, we're doing it because we have a purpose. We want to people know maybe a new classification of these kind of techniques that give the industry a new way to adopt those techniques for the next generation games, or maybe we have the purpose to know that they are using new technologies. So what is the purpose of these papers? We need to know that when the paper was written, for focus on that time, and to be aware of what the authors was trying to uh, figure what could be the procedural games, the puzzle games. So, can we change the slide, please? Complementing this first lecture, we need to go from the title to the abstract. And in the abstract, we want to be sure that our thoughts about the title could be right, or maybe we skip something, and we want to be sure that this paper is going to work for our research. Something to add?
Yeah, when you review the abstract, you can see the main idea in more extensive way. For this case, disagree about the use of PCGA, procedural content generation, to generate the puzzles. Then the idea is to have maybe uh, artificial intelligence to generate puzzles. It has been limited compared with the use of other game elements. And in detail, this paper shows a detailed survey about this work. When you have this kind of works, you need to read the date. In this case, is all the works before March 2020. In this moment, 5 years of old, then we can have more probably more research in this time. But in this moment, they review 32, 32 methods, 11 categories of puzzles. Then it was an extensive and comprehensive analysis of a lot of bibliography or references. Then it's important because when you have a survey, you need to have a broad way about the topic. And now we can review the approach. In this approach, we confine that is a approach of an analysis, comparative analysis, because we have almost one puzzle, 11 puzzle categories and 32 different methods to solve this kind of problems. Well, another important information here is about the 7 key features that analyze the similarities and difference between the techniques. Then you have an analysis and have categories to make this analysis. Well, all this information is in the abstract. For that reason, it's important for this first reading because the idea is to have a critical reading about the paper. As Carlos said, we don't read it in one way, we read in a specific part. And then in this first part, we read title, next abstract, and we continue with the focus in the abstract. In this kind, in this moment, we understand that it provides an overview of the current state, but remember at 2020, and the main objective is compare, contrast different techniques. Is the idea of this kind of articles. The next important key to review is keywords. In keywords, you have the terms of interest that your work have. Then, for this case, the keywords are procedural content and puzzle games. It's in the same way that the title. This article is really clear in your proposal, in your approach, and in your language.
Edward, we must say that when we choose this article or this paper was in a random way because we were working with students and we just pick one, but you can do it with your own papers or whatever paper that you find interested.
Yeah. In this case, our task force is more for education too. Then it's important to have this kind of point of views about the area. But I will choose some articles that could be of general interest. It is a bigger to do that. Well, then the problem another way.
Just the most important part in this first reading is to define clearly what is the problem. And we can think about the problem as something that it's current, something that it's an actual situation, and an ideal situation is what you want to solve. I mean, for instance, when we are writing our thesis for a master degree or PhD, we know what are the state of the art and what will be our approach or what we want to develop or to bring to this world. So this is the ideal world, and this is the current world or the actual world. The distance between these two are the problem. So I gave you the floor again, Edward. Sorry.
Yeah. No, the idea is to obtain the challenges in the area because with this kind of works you can show all the point of view of the topic and maybe you can obtain these problems lacks of development some opportunities to do research points new points of view to approach to a problem. Then, in this case, this kind of articles is too good to direct to have a direction for a new research. You don't need to read all about a topic. You can choose this kind of reviews because you can have the the broad view. But the main thing, I remember the date of the study is important. Well, per reading was about title, abstract, index terms, and if you see at the end, we was before the was from the problem, but we used to see the references to know the dates because it's important to be in this date the most near possible. Well, second reading. In second reading, the idea is go in depth about the topic. In this case, we need to find information. These kind of articles, and in a lot of articles, we have a lot of information, and you need to understand that. And the main important thing here is about WH questions, because with WH questions you have a different point of view about the reading in depth. It's not a read faster. You read deeply to know more about the topic. I don't know if Carlos or Lorena
Yes,
add
just to
something.
mention that we want, we ask students to read this second reading in a skeptical way. That you put yourself as a reviewer, and you have to ask everything. Why these people say that this, or how they conclude these things, and we want that our students put beside the article those questions. So this is really important. This is the part that going to be the critical reading. They don't know how to solve those questions because they are reading for the first time. But it is the main clue, or the main key is to ask them to write in the article. They have to feel that the paper is not like a book, that you have it clean. The papers, the scientific papers, is something that you have to write to. We say it in Spanish, to have your hands on the paper, and to cover all those questions. Again, I give you the floor, Edward. Sorry.
No, I think well in the third reading, the next step, the idea is to find ideas, and make relation between authors and ideas. Because with this kind of approach, you can create a cognitive relationship, a network in your knowledge. Then it's really important because you can learn about from the ideas come. Then it's really important because you can in sometimes ways to grouping ideas, create clusters specific about ideas, and organize information in this first time about in relationship with authors. But this critical reading in this third way, you think maybe you read we detail and highlight main ideas to obtain these ideas and authors. Then you work in a logic reasoning about what's happening with these ideas, what's happening here. Well, when you obtain ideas, in this case, we propose to have cognitive maps to organize ideas. Then you you could do it for every part of the article, section by section, slowly reading and obtaining the main ideas. The first part is about Sokoban type puzzles. For example, it said about this. It has limited spaces. It has procedural rompecabezas, but it's a challenge to obtain puzzles that have a solution. Maybe you can generate an puzzle that don't have a solution, and the idea is to have a good algorithm to generate puzzles with solutions. And well, other main idea here is about different focuses for searching algorithms, for programming answers, or maybe with statistical probability with Monte Carlo findings. Well, in the same way with the other sections, you are behind the main ideas, section by section, and create these relationships to organize the information. I don't know if you wanna add something.
Yes, just in this third reading, we want that the students can answer those questions that they wrote in the article. So when they go through this path, like Edward just explained to you, with those tools, they can answer it and they can address those questions, so they can go deeper in the mind of the authors. So that's why we said this is a critical reading, because they really read and they question the authors, and in this reading they now have the tools to answer those questions. So they really understand in this moment the article.
So I just want to add that while you're writing, maybe if you can, you can have like two colors, one for the questions and one for the answers, or just highlight the answers in the article. If you're doing it digital, there's a lot of apps where you can highlight and write. So you can do this. You can change your questions. They, they're not written in stone, right? So if you find a new question while you're reading, just add it and try to find the answers. Don't worry. That's why this methodology has like uh, three readings, so you can continue to build up on what you are finding out in between the lines of the article. So don't be afraid if your page are tearing apart, or they're too dirty. Don't worry, you can reprint the article and go on. And this is what we do with science. We try to understand it so we can build upon it, or we can correct what's wrong. So that's what we're doing here, and don't be afraid to do it and find out, because when you're doing this, we're generating something that we're going to talk about maybe in the next slide.
No, this one or
I think that that's the next one, the big ideas.
okay.
So this is the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a summary of well, it's come from the article. Yeah, when you found information, you can use this kind of diagrams for comprehension, but we can we can use to the summarizing in tables that maybe are in the same article. Then in this case, we provide a summary about methods to generation of puzzles, and the other way, categories and different ways about that. If you review in this case, they organize it with different authors. One here, another one. Then these kind of articles are organized to uh, grouping ideas and authors. Well, it's not simple. The idea is going deep, but
Just a few words in the last
okay.
slide. That they say that one does not simply put new information in the conclusion. This is the secret around when we need to review an article. Maybe this is the first part or the main reason that some of the articles could be rejected, because we for, forget how conclusions are made. In the conclusions, we don't put new information. In the conclusions, we don't talk about the information that we just put in the article. The conclusion really is about the problem, is to be focused again in the problem and see if we, with all the focus, the purpose, and the reasoning behind the ideas for the problems, are fitted. I mean, is really the problem solved with my focus and my purpose or not? Either way, there's a good conclusions. In science, we need to know if this path give me a way for that thing, or maybe they don't. But this is the main part. So if you want your next papers to be approved for IEEE, just don't forget that the conclusions is not about just information, it's about the problem and your point of view as an authors. And as it said, the conclusions are about whether the problem was solved or not. We just mentioned right now. And usually our students said in this time, oh, so we just can we go home yet? And we said, no, sorry, we don't. We need to cover another part. So for
So
writing, we're going to just turn turn over, and we want that right now. Put yourself in like a writer, just not like a reviewer that just reading the article, but right now we want people to have the skills to write a scientific paper.
in this case, the idea is to have the second part about writing using good ideas based on information that we recovered before, and always the problem that we are solving now, but different forms to to name that maybe is related to grounded writing or uh, fundamental writing. But the idea is to write, but not our opinion, write using information, real data, and always it is science, experiments, results, analysis. in a good way. Then first part always is title. We need to think about our title. But do you remember what's the importance of title? Focus. Focus is important in the title. What other is important in the title? You're right. This is okay. Purpose? The approach. The approach. Yeah. Then when you write, you need a good title that have an approach. And what's the other word? Focuses. Well, your work needs to resolve a problem. Problem is the most important thing about the about the research. Is the most important thing about your uh, paper. You are talking about a problem and how you wanna resolve it. Understand that. Well, the second, maybe Carlos wanna add something.
Yes, just a few words because this is a workshop. We want to ask you about your contribution to the IEEE meeting here, and just think about your own paper, and maybe you can give us what is the problem right now. If you have to tell somebody, some friend, I went to Lisboa and we want to talk about my own research. Let me tell you the problem. Uh, this is the approach for writing. As Edward said, the title is important, but we going to put the title at the end. We need first to understand the problem. If you can settle the problem, maybe you have the middle of of your paper written, because you you know what will be the ideal situation, and you have the current situation, and you maybe can think about some key points that you have to achieve in order to solve that problem. And maybe with that problem, you can search for others authors and see their focus or the purpose or the point of view of that problem, and maybe you can add something to the humanity with your own point of view. So the first part is the problem. Now that you have the problem, now that you can talk with each other about the problem, then we want that you can think about what is your focus, what give you the main spotlight for say this is the way that I want to solve the problem, and then how can I solve the purpose? I mean, I'm going to do it for a numerical point of view, or going to do a quantitative or qualitative research. Um, and well, I give you again, Edward, but maybe could be a good idea if they can um, participate, tell us something about their own research.
Yeah, you can share something about your research, about your problem and focus for this conference.
Sure, I can. So, yeah, hi. So yeah, actually, that our paper in this conference follows this same format. So, like how you have like procedural content generation colon a survey. So we have like our paper is called path generation and evaluation in video games colon a non-parametric statistical approach. So the first is the problem, and second is what's the approach, what's the focus of the approach. Yeah.
Okay, so in my paper, it's a demo. So the problem that it's directing that demo is with how mental health can be in a form of like, I don't know how to say it, like how we can empathize about the problems of mental health and stuff.
Yes, it's again about mental health. Well, problem about puzzles, a problem about mental health, using games to help that. Well, it's important to take notes to review these parts. Well, the purpose then is really important, and when you have these three first parts, problem with the zeta, because it's the the variable that you wanna obtain.
Yes,
Well,
it's because in Spanish we say problematización. Is the C in problematización. Sorry, in English is not C.
no, yeah, it's fair.
Yes, but the question is why we use the Z.
Yeah, but sometimes in mathematics the cognate is C. Sometimes it could be good. Well, you have a good problem, the focus of your study, the purpose, what's the information, or what you are behind of what, and you need to create the information to solve the problem using the focus and going on with the purpose. Well, it's
So yeah. Do you want to talk
You're-
about the?
Yes, just a few advices. For instance, Isabel is in her last year, and maybe she have to write a thesis, and this is the main key for writing. When you are looking for others' research, you have to do the first part of this workshop, the critical reading. So usually you have several authors that we can say I'm going to focus on the main author, and I'm going to say this author has this idea, and we can have it in a direct form. Often they only have one idea for one article. There are a few cases that you can see an author with three or more ideas, but we can be more precisely if we say these authors give me this idea, this other author give me this other idea, or maybe this author in another article give me this another idea. So you just mentioned the mental health and how games can add or something for the solution. You can have your own review. You can have your vibe text bibliography, and when you saw all these ideas, your brain start to work and then say, okay, I agree with those authors, but I'm not agree with these other authors. So you can form in your brain your meta idea or meta idea in Spanish. And we said that because we're always using the previous work for others, because this is the way that science go forward. We say that my mid idea is the sum or the partial sum of some others' ideas, plus or maybe in contraposition of those ideas for those that I don't agree. So my point of view is to prove my mid idea, or my meta idea is to solve this problem using those others' ideas to support my new meta idea. And what I want to try to do is with reasoning, and with doing some demos, or with doing some simulations, or doing some experiments to see if the evidence of those experiments or those simulations give me some light for the problem that I trying to solve. So in this part is where I'm going to use some statistical point of view to see if they support or not my thoughts.
Yeah, I think in research terms, maybe we are proposing a hypothesis. You need to reason and show evidence to have a thesis and talk about that. Well, with this information, you need to do the next
I
step.
think Lorena wants to add something.
Yeah.
Yes, just a little bit. This if you have trouble, because when I was doing my research, I usually had trouble with these things, how to save it. That we skip very fast from a slide where you can use Word to save your papers and books and all the things that you read. So you have bibliography available, so you can write there. I know that many of you might use LaTeX and you have your big text, but some people use Word. You cannot do that in there. And I usually keep or kept, I lost my file, so it's somewhere in the backup. But I usually have a table where I put the author, I put the idea the idea that we talk about, and then I add some comments of my ideas, and then I write the bibliography that I already add to in my Word document or whatever I do that. So through my readings, I can compile this big file with ideas, and then as Edward was saying, when you're writing a thesis, you already have all this like summary, and it's very helpful because I can get ideas from papers and books and all the things I read critically like this, and use them to support my thesis, or use them like to contrast my ideas with other opinions. So if you work a little bit every day with this file, when you sit down eventually to write, you don't waste the 3 hours on the internet like the small comic said, right? So if you do if you do this progressively, you can have this backup of ideas, and also in this file or in another file, if you want to, you can do the next step that Edward is going to talk to you about.
Reasoning. You have a problem, a focus, purpose, information about that. You make a reasoning, and maybe you propose an hypothesis using reasoning rules, using evidence, experiments, statistics, and a lot of information that supports the ideas. You create and have a thesis. Well, and this part, the final part, is if you do it in the correct way, you have conclusions about that, about the problem, as Carlos said before. Your conclusions are about the problem in an ordered way. Well, this is the summary of the methodology, but if you remember, title is the last one because the first one is the problem. This question that you wanna answer or solve with a focus, with a purpose, getting information from a lot of references and for experiments and for and from different kind of summarizing information about statistics or some results that you obtain in your experimentation, and you have the reasoning stage and make conclusions about this problem. When you have all this work, finally, you can think about the title because something important is that maybe you have ideas or you obtain ideas that are in contrast, but in some cases you don't confirm your main idea. Maybe you confirm the contrary idea. Then when you write this final part, their conclusions are about the real evidence in a truth way. It's really important for ethical issues. Maybe sometimes in research we can do bad practices, trying to empowering some ideas that are in the incorrect way. Then the idea is it behind the truth. And this part, Carlos.
Yes, this is because always the students say, "Okay, I just want to go right now." But um, I think this methodology give us a good way for the students to approach the scientific method. First of all, they learn how to read. They use the same letters, but we're going to start with them with the title. In the writing part, when they master the reading, the critical reading, they can go for the writing. And in the writing, we're going to start with the problem, not with the title. We go through all the letters, and at the end, we're going to put the title just to be sure that this title has within the problem, the purpose, and the focus at least. Uh, Having all these things in mind, uh, we we can have students to be aware of what is going on in the state of the art. If we can give them the possibility to read actual research, then when they finish, they can go to industry right now and have the main ideas, the main topics that researchers are using, so the industry gain or win because they have people that can use those ideas, but mainly because they can have this methodology for the rest of their lives. So if I have these students in my company, I know that part of their job is to keep reading all the time the new techniques, the new approaches for games opportunities, and that give us a big opportunity for the industry. I think Lorena wants to add something. Sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Yeah. This is kind of difficult to pronounce methodology. Is you need to practice it, and it will help you a lot to read and write, and it will help you a lot to create these meta ideas and enhance your research maturity. I know that some of you are just starting with this, and it's just your first time, and you already know how hard it is to get an article passed, accepted in a conference. And with the methodology, you can gain a lot more trust in that your writing is going to be accepted a little bit more easily, because you have all the parts that the peer reviewers are looking for. So you will start getting better reviews from your peers, and also you will start thinking about new ideas because you are already constructing on this. But the thing is, and I really want to tell you this, is that you need to practice it. It's not going to be a lot easy if you don't practice it. So start with small articles, maybe not with a survey like we did, but it's like a very didactic option, because you can see all the parts. So maybe start with something small, maybe something that you are a little bit familiar with, so you can identify everything, every part in a easier way, and then start building up of this foundation. So maybe we can try to do something, or we can hear your questions. I don't know, Edward.
Just I want to add something else. Just for finish my participation, is that we start this years ago, and when I wrote my thesis, I use it, and I promised myself that helps everyone that have the same thesis path or PhD path. And I give them this way to work, and just add a few steps. I just tell them that in their research room, wherever they are, in maybe in the library, maybe in their own house, they can put it in white sheets, all the part, and they can review all the time. um, this is not easy, but right now there's a new gamer in this game, that is the artificial intelligence. So if a students wants to use artificial intelligence for write their own paper, maybe the ChatGPT or the Gemini or whatever, they don't follow this methodology. They maybe give you some information, and maybe they give you a paper just ready to send it. But when you read it with this critical thinking, you're going to see that there are several holes in the paper. So what I'm trying to say uh, is that we can use artificial intelligence, but in an intelligent way. We don't, well, this is my advice. Don't use it just for they to write. Use it maybe for translation. If for us, for people that English is not our main language, some idioms, some words could be more difficult, but we can use it just for translation, or maybe we can use it just for see if it's more coherent the way that we are trying to write in another language. But the using artificial intelligence just for the topic, I don't do not recommend, at least not right now. Maybe in a few years, things could be different. But right now, there's several holes in the reasoning part of this artificial intelligence. We are trying to use it, training in the methodology, but no, there's not ready right now. Lorena, do you want to add something?
Yes, if you can, if you want to use your AI agent for these kind of conversations, I suggest that you use your meta prompts. You have access to those somewhere in the configuration of your AI, and tell the AI that you don't want it to agree with you with everything that you say. So you stop having these messages that great, your thinking is so good, your process, you are awesome. Just tell the AI, don't do that. Please show me if I have some inconsistencies here, and just add that little message to your AI agent, and your discussions will improve. So that's my suggestion. And if you only do it like for to help you make it clear in another language, that's that's something that we didn't have like a few years ago, and a lot of the feedback was this is not properly English. And now we don't we get some of that feedback, but it's getting better, I think.
Yeah. The last part, the idea is if you wanna create an idea about a problem, about the purpose, about the focus for one research that you wanna do, but trying to find ideas for those different authors and create this meta idea with a contrast with, the ideas in the in your way and others in against the idea.
Edward, I know I just say that I'm going to talk more, but the last slide that you are showing, it's using chatpaper.ai. This is a good AI just for give the paper and to have this visual point of view. There's a lot of others AI that you can talk with the AI about the paper. Those tools are good, but the my advice is give the students the opportunity to really read. Do not only use the paper chat or whatever, um, because they want to skip. The young students want their own time. So I recommend a lot that give them the time for reading also in your class. So you can see if they are really reading, and you're going to see amazing things. People that cannot focus really in the paper. So you have to aid them and to reteach them how to read, because again we have a huge a huge necessity, or we need people, a critical people in the industry, so we need to prepare them well. I don't know if they have any questions, Edward, or we can just skip for the part that they have to work.
Yeah, I think it's a question. Isabella said no. A question? No. Well, continue. Well, visualization of ideas is important in this kind of maps. These mind maps or knowledge networks are really important because you can connect the ideas, and our brain works a lot in a visual way. then it's really important to create this kind of diagrams. It's a way how we learn. Our learning is deepest. Well, this is the review of the ideas of the last article, the fossil generation. Well, this critical reading, when you do it, you obtain categories and tables when you found different features and organize the topic. And remember, make clusters or groups about the topics, the ideas to contrast. It's really important to this part of reasoning about the ideas. When you do that, make the conclusions in a correct way. And well, it is the last one. I don't know if you wanna add something from Mexico and the other one. I changed to the other people here. Can you see you in this moment, Carlos?
Maybe we can ask them to try and do the SEP part, the problematization, the focus of the problem, and the I forgot the P in English, and the purpose. Purpose. So maybe someone in the room has some ideas and they can present it this way.
Yes, because at the end it's a workshop, so
Yeah.
we need to put our hands in the problem.
Yeah. I think it's if you wanna work in an idea, or maybe we can.
Or if you are shy, maybe we can do like in class, just choose someone random. No, don't worry.
Well, we are in the same idea as the panel in the other room. Then we can go to the other room to end this part. Going to the do the panel about this kind of topics is the topic of the day: how to mix industry research and how find problems in gaming. And this part is about methodology to work in a correct way, in a right way, about problems with a cognitive, uh, real learning, real reasoning, and create good solutions for the industry. When you have a correct thinking about the problems and methodology, you can solve in a good way the real problems. But you need this kind of work: reading, reasoning, organizing ideas is really, really important, and concluding in a good way. I don't know if
Yes,
Daniela.
just a final words. It's how we are using this as a group. Maybe Daniela can talk about the the way that we are doing our meetings with the students. I don't know how to say it in English, conversatorios. But yes, please.
Maybe Mario wanna see something.
Yeah, thanks, Edward. I'm really, enjoyed your presentation. I think it's important for making this strong link, as Daniela said, between academia and industry. We are, looking forward for reaching more people around, our region, Latin American region, but also in other countries, in this kind of partnership with Europe or Asia, and we would like to meet other, to know the concerns that had in other contexts. We believe that our aim is very shared with others. Thank you.
Something final, Carlos, Lorena?
No, I just think I talk a lot. Just thank you for your participation. I know you have to move to the another section for the industry, but I don't know if they're going to ask them how they learn in the workshop. So I hope these ideas going with you, going not only for the next room but also with your students, with your old research. And at the end, we're here if you think this methodology could work for you. uh, we will be grateful to know that you are using. Right now we have uh, a huge amount of students works that they all of them are writing their work in the courses that we have in Latin America, and the best of them we're trying to put it in a virtual
Magazine.
magazine. I don't know,
No, it's journal.
journal, the journal, but undergraduate journal. We have to say that, and they feel comfortable, and we know that we are doing some good stuff because some of them are right now studying their PhD, or they are right now in the industry. So we think at the end this methodology works. So we'll be really really grateful if these ideas could be spread for all the world. Thank you.
Yeah. In the idea of Carlos said, in the GRE task force, the idea is to involve education activities to improve our skills from all of our students, and then it is one of our activities, but we work in other activities too, like jams in Mexico. It's really important the work for Daniels. It's really important the participation in organizing jams to improve skills in developing and creative ideas in a fast way. But this is the other part, the complementing part about to have good reasoning, good basis to do a good work. And well, gaming is a lot of issues. Then is a part of our formation. In our diplomatura, there's a non-formal education. We try to show to the students all the parts of the pipeline to develop a game, with parts about game design, game programming in different uh, engines. We work too in terms of aesthetics, content creation, and this important view that is research. Daniel sometimes uh, makes a special module about thinking in research in gaming, because sometimes we are working a lot creating games, but you don't understand the work and the implications of that in the society. Then research ideas about all the topics in the game developing is really important. For example, you maybe you have questions about how to improve some algorithms, but in other cases you need how to improve this interaction with the user. And in other case, we are asking if this aesthetics is correct about the narrative of the story, what would you want to talk. Then to have a good problem in a good statement is really important to obtain the purpose, the focus in the correct way, a quantitative way, a qualitative way. Then this kind of methodology is really important about that. Obtain good problem, purpose, and focuses. And the last part of the methodology uh, in investigation, have a lot of details according the way that you uh, try to go to the final goal that maybe in most of the cases you can discover that your idea were wrong and you need change. It change quickly, as the industry said. They need answers quickly to short problems in some cases. Well, is the end. And thank you so much for the assistance. And we wanna go to the panel. It is related to this topic in the point of view of the industry.
Yes, they ask us to move. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Goodbye. Thank you.